In the latest edition of the Red Delta Project podcast, I talked about applying calisthenics and bodyweight training for the sake of bodybuilding. And there were a lot of principles that I covered, and one of which was how to use and incorporate isolation exercises with compound movements to further develop your muscle mass. And there are three primary ways we can program this. Of course, it's not isolation exercises because we're not trying to make one muscle work and the other ones to turn off. We still want a comprehensive use of our muscles throughout our entire body, particularly the muscles along the chain. So if you're doing your bicep curls, you still want to engage your back and your lats and all of the other muscles in your posterior chain. So it's more of an emphasis on a particular muscle rather than an isolation. The first way that I like to approach using isolation exercises is to use them as more of like a pre-exhaust. We hit those first. For example, let's say we've got a series of chest flies and tricep extensions, and we hit several sets of that to make the muscles all nice, warm and toasty. And then once they're starting to accumulate a decent amount of fatigue, then we use a compound movement like push-ups or dips or progressive push-ups as a finisher. This has the benefit of hitting individual muscles a little bit more when they're more fresh, which is very handy, particularly if you feel that those exercises are a little sensitive on your joints. And you can really work the muscle to a high degree with the compound movements without really high-level progressions or a lot of extra weighted calisthenics. Of course, the yin to the yang of that approach is to use the isolation exercises afterwards as the finisher. This has the benefit of putting the strength exercises, the compound movements, in the beginning when you're more fresh. Therefore, you can work on the more advanced progressive techniques like the one-arm push-ups or the archer pull-ups and so on, so you can really dial in those techniques or build up to a much heavier weighted calisthenic. And then you're using the isolation stuff as the finisher afterwards because you're just trying to burn out whatever's left in the muscle, so you're not really too concerned about what level of resistance you're using with that. Coincidentally, this is also the approach I use in my brand new push-pull squat workout program, which is all about dialing in the workouts and the techniques that are going to have the biggest bang for the buck in developing your physique. The link to the PDF to that is down below in the description. And then, of course, the middle ground of how to use isolation is to integrate it with your compound movements at the same time. This is a particularly handy way to really hit the muscles if you are finding that your compound movements and your isolation movements are a little bit more of a different emphasis. One of my favorite examples of doing this is practicing your handstand work or handstand push-ups along with chest flies and tricep extensions, because each movement is kind of placing an emphasis in different parts of your push chain, so they're not really interfering with each other, and you're not putting too much of a strength or a fatigue emphasis in any one area. It's just getting kind of an all-around effect. And of course, if you want to hit some of these single joint exercises, I highly recommend using a set of rings or my personal favorite suspension straps like the ones from Nosk. The review video is right up here that I highly recommend. And here's another one of my micro workout videos that you can play around with and how to incorporate some of these strategies for yourself. Let me know if you have questions down below, like, share, all that good stuff if you like this sort of thing. And thank you very much for watching. Be fit and live free.